I'm Dave, and this is Logan, out once again on a walk in the countryside. Thanks for joining us. Today we're at the beautiful little village of Houghton in Hampshire. It's just north of Romsey, off the B3057. Today we're going to be doing a roughly 4-mile circular route to the west of the village, taking in some quite stunning chalkland, downland scenery, and I promise you something really exciting to see along the way. Are we ready? Let's go. It's a beautiful, the sun is out already. It's first week in June. It's in the morning, just after 8 o'clock. It's already about 12 degrees. It's going to be another hot one today, so it should be a great walk. Let's go. Well, I'm going to start the walk right by the church, which is just behind me here. Let me show it to you. And what a pretty little church it is as well. It's the Church of All Saints, 12th century, stands on a base of Purbeck marble. The spire that you can see there was added to the tower in 1890. I think it has 3 bells. But, lovely outline. Oh, look at this pretty little well and pump. It was donated to the village in memory of Sir Lionel de la Tour Wells, who lived at Houghton Lodge. He had an illustrious career in the Royal Navy and then was Chief Officer of the Metropolitan Fire Brigade. He died in 1929, and I can just see there the initials ICW and 1931. I guess ICW stands for Ida Caroline Wells, who wrote his memoirs. Well, we're going to have a little wander through the village before we get to the start of our walk. And just down from the church, there's the War Memorial, Houghton Cross, I believe. And then just bearing over, the pub, the Boot Inn, 18th century. And as you can see, it's half timbered. And sweet little bus stop. I'll continue to make my way through the village. There's basically just a single road that goes through Houghton, basically north to south. And it was originally dominated by 2 major estates, the Houghton Lodge estate to the north and the Bossington estate to the south. I'm just going to turn you around and show some of these quite gorgeous properties as we're going along. And the River Test flows to my left, but it's full of really quite pretty cottages and a lot of thatch. That's the old post office. And I read somewhere that there's something like 50 listed buildings in the village itself, which doesn't surprise me. And I think it's in one of those conservation areas, or part of the villages anyway. Lovely little thatch property there with the timber frame at the very top. Well, before we start our circular part of the walk, we had a little detour to have a look at the River Test, which as you can see is behind me here, looking very, very serene. Isn't that lovely? It's well, it must be, I think it's about 40 miles long in total, and it rises in the north at a place called Ash, which is about 10 kilometres west of Basingstoke, and flows out into an estuary at Southampton. I don't know if that's coming across, but you can see it has the characteristics very much of a chalk stream in the upper reaches, but even here it's very clear. But absolutely wonderful. Now I've just spotted something in the distance, but I'm going to have to change my camera to a zoom to show it to you. So I'll do that now. Oh, what a lovely sight. What a heron there. White. And then the far distance is another one, more of a grey colour. Looking out for fish, obviously. A beautiful sight with this crystal clear water and a gravel bed, which I imagine makes it a little bit easier for the heron to see the fish. Isn't that wonderful? Oh, are we going to see you in action? I expect you have to be quite patient in this sort of job. Oh well, we'll leave you be. We're now going to leave the village and start heading west alongside an old drove called Faithful's Drove, and we're going to be following this for about 1.5 miles. Oh, lovely thatched cottage again. It is quite pretty here, and lovely wildflowers. Been a great spring and early summer for foxgloves, of course. And, oh, where's that sun gone? Making our way along this old droving route. Well, there's a handy little bench to sit on and admire the view, and wow, what a gorgeous view it is as well. Isn't that wonderful? Now, this track that I'm going down is actually part of a couple of long distance trails. There's the Clarendon Way, which was about 26-28 miles or so, and that goes from the River Itchen near Winchester all the way to the River Avon at Salisbury, and it gets its name from Clarendon Palace, which isn't far from Salisbury. And it's also part of the Monarch's Way, which is a route well over 600 miles. It's supposed to represent the escape route of Charles II after his defeat at the Battle of Worcester in 1651. I think that was the last English battle in the Civil War, and his route took him from Worcester to Brighton, but with a detour through Bristol and Yeovil. Well folks, I promised you something special in the introduction. Here it is. Look at that. Isn't that spectacular? A field full to the brim of poppies. Now, a local was just walking by, did tell me that these are actually, they have been drilled, so perhaps not totally natural, but even so, isn't that beautiful? If I get a close up, they are so papery thin, aren't they? Sorry about my shadow in there, but the sun's directly behind me. Oh, isn't that lovely? And the rolling hills in the background just adds to it. I can't remember the last time I saw a poppy display quite like this. Oh, that was worth coming just to see this. Oh. Wow. Oh, sometimes nature can be such a wonderful thing. Yeah, that is brilliant. more spectacular views. This is looking to the west. Let's turn around. That's Hayters Farm, and just to my right a display of, looks like wild daisies. Not quite as spectacular as those poppies, but still pretty good nonetheless. Drifting in the wind with the yellow, there's a few buttercups and something else which I'm not 100% sure of. It makes a nice combination anyway. It's glorious out here. We've now come as far west as we're going to go, and then I'm going to start heading slightly northwards for about half a mile or so. And we've just come across this little sculpture here, which fairly recent, put up, was in the millennium 2000, and it was done by a lady by the name of Zoe Delisle Whittier. I hope I've pronounced that correctly. I think she was French. It's made of Portland stone, and on top you've got a group of rooks, and then down below, well, there's a map of the Clarendon Way, although sadly it's become a little bit covered in muck by the looks of things, but I can just about make out the route. Whew, a little uphill bit there. This is as far north as we're going to go. We're now going to go eastwards along an old drove called Stevens Drove, and that's going to take us back to the village itself. The little track we've come up just now has been quite exquisite. Hedges both sides, full of different types of wildflowers, not just the thistles, but I saw some cornflowers and almost like little roses as well. And the whole area around here is the scenery is quite stunning. I'll just slowly pan the camera around, and we're on the edge of a field of corn here, but the fields are huge, and this is looking sort of southwards and then panning around to those glorious rolling downland hills to the west. You really shouldn't do that, you know. Well folks, we've come to the end of our walk. We hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give us a thumbs up or a like, and do make a comment. And if you haven't already subscribed, please do so. That way hopefully you'll be able to join us for another walk sometime in the future. I should say we've had well over 250 subscribers now, so thank you to everybody that has subscribed, and it really gives us both a thrill to be able to continue doing these walks for you. We've had a super walk today. The weather's been great. Those poppies were really quite something, weren't they? I know they're not here all year round, but we've come at the right time of the year. So until we meet again, thanks for watching, and cheerio.